Good job. Greetings, everyone. So as you know, we're going through the 42 precepts of Maat. And we're at number 10. And I have not become angry and cursed, damned, or wished others to hell. Firstly, this issue of hell. I'm going to just share a photograph with you to get us started on this discussion. So I'll stop this share. And this is in the Cairo Museum. It looks like a red granite carving of two primary divinities of ancient Egyptian religion. In the center, you have the royal initiate, the pharaoh. And on the left, you have the hawk-headed Haru, who exemplifies the light of spirit consciousness, the conscious awareness of spirit being. And on the right, which if you look at it from the perspective of the royal in the center, Haru would be on his right. And Set will be on his left. And here you have Set with the mythological head, looks like an aardvark, and the exaggerated ears. And in normal circles, and even in Egyptology, it is told to us that not to us initiates. I mean, they can tell us, but don't make sense. That this personality represents Satan. Is it the same kind of connotation as Satan in the Christian myth and Christian Bible? But if he's such an evil character, he's such a Satan, why is he here with Haru? Working on the royal. What they're doing is they're stabilizing the hedge, the white crown of the south on the head of the royal. I mean, they're crowning him and they're stabilizing that realization of that higher consciousness that the crown represents. And in front of the crown is a rear-edged serpent. So he's being crowned by higher consciousness. And it's coming from both Haru and Set together. And Set represents in this context, Set is one of the most sophisticated divinities in ancient Egyptian philosophy, because you have to relate to him in the context in which he's being presented. And he's presented in certain specific contexts. In one context, he is the evil brother who is killing the father of Haru, chopping him up, dismembering him. In other contexts, he is the divinity that protects the boat of Ra as Ra travels through space and time, manifesting creation through the rippling of the ocean of unobjectified consciousness. And at other times, he is the slaughtered inimical force. You see him with knives driven into his body while he's tied at a stake. And at other times, you see him assisting in the journey of the spiritual aspiring. So it depends upon what context. And so you have to be very careful when relating to Set, one of the most sophisticated divinities. And the reason being because he represents the ego. And how you condition the ego determines the operation of your personality in the realm of time. The ego is impure, you're going to act egoistic. You're going to be filled with the egoism and desire. If the ego is purified, then the ego, instead of expressing itself through egoism, expresses itself through a protective faculty of higher consciousness. So if the ego is impure, it's going to damage your Ari. It's going to generate more negative Ari in the unconscious. If the ego is pure, it not only assists in generating positive Ari in the unconscious, it helps to facilitate the imprints of the unconscious that's leading to spiritual enlightenment. So what you do with the ego determines how it's going to operate through your personality. And here it's acting in a stabilization of higher consciousness. And what that means is you can't destroy your ego and try to hold on to the spirit light. You have to come to a synthesis, a balance between the two, referred to as Ma'at. Because Ma'at doesn't intimate a destruction of temporality. Ma'at intimates an understanding of temporality through which you become integrated. Integration doesn't mean you're accepting it as a reality, as an absolute reality. Integration means that your personality is neither disturbed by it nor is nihilistic towards it. It means that you have a depth understanding of what it is. So it's neither damaging nor are you running away from it and negating it. So you need the two. And that's why spiritual evolution is kind of an art. It's an internal art of your feelings, your mind, your personality. Spirituality is not something that you're going to think consciously, and then it has to do with how you're able to control the forces of your personality within you that causes a realization of the nature of the temporal and the nature of the absolute. And if you have the two, then you have Haru, the spirit light, and you have the Set, the purified ego, in an operative form, stabilizing your realization of higher consciousness. Yeah, a mystic participation of the two in the 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 metaphysical stabilization of the one, which is you, spiritual aspirant, that is that is ascertaining the reality and the totality of the one, which is your own higher nature. So set has nothing to do with hell and damnation and Satan and all this kind of thing. So now let's go back to the text and discuss this hell that we're confronted with through the text. So have not become angry, and this is hard for people for normal people who are not into these kind of mystic teachings as you are. And if you're like this, then you have to change your ways. That people believe that there is no way that you cannot become angry, that you have, that anger is a natural process or a natural emotion of being a human being. And that is true to the extent that it is normal for a human being in an unenlightened condition to be one who becomes angry and allows the energy of anger to overtake your personality. From that perspective, it's normal. However, from the perspective of a spiritual aspiring, yeah, that is abnormal. That anger does not necessarily have to be a controlling force of your personality. In fact, anger is something that you are to employ your power over. And by your power, I mean your higher consciousness over, and that it becomes an emotion that you are able to control. So it becomes your servant. So it never is that you become angry. When your heart becomes purified, it's that you can use anger if necessary. And this cursing others, cursing and damning others, when people are doing things like that, they're actually cursing and damning themselves. Yeah, because essentially, they're all human beings on a biological level. We're talking about, all human beings are essentially the same. They're very minute genetic variations to the human species. And on a deeper level, on the level of the soul, all human beings are essentially the same. That there's no different kinds of souls. There is no a black soul, a white soul, a Puerto Rican soul, a Dominican soul. There is the soul. And the problem with in an individual existence is that you're through your Ari and your deep unconscious, that you are apprehending an individual identity. And because of that, the illusion of the individual soul arises. And so that individual soul is an illusion, is a metaphysical effect of the deep notion of I, individuality, as an individual entity. And when you are damning, or not you, but when people are damning others to hell, you're actually damning an aspect. You're damning yourself, an aspect of your own innate divine nature. So it's like you're damning God to hell. You're telling God to go to hell. And when you tell, or when people tell God to go to hell, what ends up happening is that you end up in hell. And hell means negative psychological experiences through dream and through day-to-day life experience. Because your day-to-day life experience can be is sort of a dream as well, and it can be hellish when people are angry at each other and they're yelling and cursing back and forth and even throwing things or whatever. That's hell. So hell is a psychological condition of mind. And when you are damning others to a negative psychological condition of mind, it has a boomerang effect. Where you create your own hell by damning others to hell. And that's why in interpersonal relationships, you're arguing, unhealthy arguing, and constant arguing. It causes so much irritability, and being uncomfortable, and internal anguish. Because your partner might be wrong, but how you express that determines your own experience. So you're getting into it with them and you're cursing them out, but what you're doing is that you're generating a rebound effect for your own experience. So your relationship is causing your own negative life. And that's why spiritual aspirants are cajoled or taught to learn how to speak more sweetly and calmly and more relaxed. Because the cursing is kind of a hekal. It's a negative hekal. It's a vibration. It's a sound vibration. And that sound vibration that you project is going to hit two things. It's going to hit the ego of the other, and they're going to react. And that's your hell now. Now you're getting it back. But it's also going to hit it's going to hit the object of space. It's going to hit Shu, and then it's going to reverberate, meaning it's going to vibrate in a certain way. And that vibration then is going to be directed back to you because it came from you. So it's part of the karmic train of events. And then when it comes back with that negative vibration. And that irritates your mind, causes anguish, irritability, frustration, dejection. Depression. So in the theurgy of Hekau, Anything that you chant is creating a vibration in space. That's why doing devotions are very important. Because when you're chanting, you're vibrating the space around you. You're vibrating because that sound that you're projecting uh, has to become audible. The way it becomes audible is by vibrating through space. Yeah, it's vibrating through the space around you, then you feel the effect of that. But if you're doing a negative cacao, then it's the same effect. It's the same. So that's what I mean by you're cursing yourself. When you curse others, you're damning others to hell. You're actually doing something to yourself through your own projection of sound. And it becomes even more troubling when you do it with your mind. Because your mind puts off a vibration that is even more subtle than the voice that comes from your mouth. So it goes off in a thought atmosphere. And it intermingles with other people's thoughts in the thought atmosphere. So for example, let's say you go to the grocery store today. And let's say 100 people in the grocery store. All of those 100 people have thoughts. And the energy from those thoughts are filling up the grocery store. And their thoughts are intermingling with your thoughts. And it's kind of benign because there's no conscious projection towards an individual person, except if someone goes to the grocery store with someone or whatever. But now if you are sitting down and someone did something to you at work that you didn't like, and you're this idiot, stupid person, you're thinking these thoughts in your mind. Well, it goes into the thought atmosphere. And they might be thinking negative thoughts about you, and you pick up their negative thoughts. And you see the person the next day, you can't look at each other. All of this is living in hell. And if their thoughts are stronger than your thoughts, if they project stronger negative thoughts towards you, then you're going to have some kind of negative experience because of it. And if your negative thought is very strong, but they're stronger, it's going to rebound, it's going to come back. And you're going to experience something. So how do you deal with this problem of the normal mind? Because we're not saying you as an inherent flawed. It's not that. It's the normal mind that you have come into this world with. And now the thing with the mind is that you have to tame it and you have to learn how to train it. That's the key with the mind. And the uninitiated, the people, they're untamed. So they're like animals. But as spiritual initiates, you have this thing you think with, you memorize with, you visualize with. And as an initiate, you have to think of how you're going to train your mind. And so you have to learn how to think correctly. Work on negative emotions like envy and jealousy. Reduce them. Reduce. The expressions of anger. Reduce. and lots of concentration, lots of meditation to learn how to control your mind. Because if your mind is like a wild bull in Mexico and in Spain, they have the bullfighters, and the bull comes out and the bull is jumping up and down and kicking, and that's what your mind is like. In the East, they say your mind is like a jumping monkey, jumping from one branch to the other, one branch to the other in the jungle. And an impure mind is a jungle. It's a jungle of delusion. And so you have to learn how to train this mind, or else the anger is going to come out, the cursing is going to come out, and it's going to be inflected towards other people. It's all going to come out because the mind is untrained. So you deal with it through lots of meditation, lots of chanting, and lots of working on the negative emotions by reducing them. And pretty soon, someone will yell at you or they'll curse you, and it won't have an effect because your mind is trained. So you won't curse them back. You won't damn them to hell. You won't say, go to hell, get out of here, you idiot. All of that would be turned off. And if you're able to turn that off, and think about this, this is big. If you're able to turn that off, what's going to happen is that you're going to reduce the power of your negative RU that's in your unconscious, that's tied to your mouth and your thought process. You're going to reduce that volatility, and you're going to enhance negative energy in your mind. And your speech will become soothing, calming, relaxing. And that helps others, but look at what it's doing for you, the enormous benefit to you. That you won't be rebounding off shoe and other people all the time. And when you become more subtle, negative projections towards you will have little or no effect. So the more you meditate, the more subtle you become, the more transparent your physical body should be becoming to you. It shouldn't be some solid entity, absolute reality. So the more it loses, the more its illusory nature becomes revealed to you, the less negativity can stick to you or bounce off of you or irritate you. It's illusory. There's nothing there for it to stick to. And by doing this, now you're making the unconscious lighter, and you put that in your heart-shaped vase. You put that in your heart-shaped vase, and you're placing that on a balance scale of Maat. You have a great advantage. And you're elevating yourself above the stupidity of the world. The arguing back and forth and the negative feelings and the negative thoughts towards others. It's all dumb because it's all illusion. So why get caught up in all of that? I'll show you why you shouldn't get caught up with all of that. Because here you are in the center. This personality is a Prada. Name is down here. Much of the text is gone, but head said, Mead, Sheps, Nesobiti, Versa, Amen, Mary. So the renewal, like the royal, who's a king of Upper and Lower Egypt, but the beloved of Amun, who has been chosen by Ra. The beloved of Amun, who has been chosen by Ra. And that's you. You're this royal, because this royal is a metaphor for the serious spiritual aspirant who wants to elevate themselves above the negativity and the stupidity of normal human existence. That's why you shouldn't get involved in all of that, because you are a royal. You have to know that about yourself. And to the best of your capacity, control your personality towards that end. And if something happens, examine and correct. Examine and correct. Examine and correct. And then wait for the challenge to come again. Wait for it and even want it. Yeah, put me in that position again, Peru and Seth. Put me there. Get that person to yell at me again. Come on, I'm ready now. Calm, relax, poise. That's who you are. And with that, that'll be it for 42 laws of Maat for today. Do it, everyone. And do it again for a wonderful devotion to our great goddess Net. Have a wonderful day until we see each other again. Good time.
You too.